Welcome everybody back to the DomCast, episode 29. We're about to hit the 30 mark. Yes, around 30 weeks of podcast. How do I possibly generate this much stuff to talk about, especially during the off season? Yeah, anyways, tell me, how many of y'all today are going to hop on that NBA 2K, the Ruffles challenge, you know, in the park? They're having their first event. Yes, this is NBA 2K20 1 week later, a couple of patches later, an extremely rough around the edges. Well, that's underselling it actually. Disastrous launch day. Yeah, we are already having our first event, and I'm recording this on a Saturday. Yesterday they had a 23 gigabyte patch. 23 gigs. I am quite certain there are games out there that are probably 23 gigs, even if they're really tiny ones. But yeah, this has been an event. NBA 2K20, as far as launch day 2Ks, there is no doubt that it takes the cake as the worst ever. Like, it's not even a debate, you know. I saw people online saying that, hey, they were really doing this false equivalency thing where they were saying, oh, well, this is why I don't get NBA 2K at launch, because it's always broken. Look, I've bought every 2K at launch since 2K13, right? Yeah, that's when I started buying my own 2Ks. Every single one since then I've gotten a launch day. There has never been a launch day like this. Ever, ever, ever. There's been stuff that hasn't worked, sure. There's been ratchet servers. 2K always has ratchet servers. That's like, they're notorious for that. There's been, you know, VC glitches and all this stuff. Yeah, there's definitely been rough launch days, as there is for a lot of games. NBA 2K20 was on another level. There was nothing like this with 2K. Because what happened here, it's funny, right? How many of y'all were listening to the podcast about 2 weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, the one where I was talking about the aspect or the prospect of people boycotting 2K, because that's the thing that I saw. And I was basically saying, like, for me, until they fuck up like NBA Live, I have no plans to boycott. And as I say that this is the one that has like the worst launch in history. Because if it was everything from a technical side, right, that was what was different from this launch than from others, is that there were things that flat out didn't work. It wasn't like, oh, I'm unhappy with the gameplay or this move doesn't work right or whatever. Like, no, there was just flat out stuff that didn't work. You know, your name not appearing on the back of your jersey in my career, modes straight crashing you to blue screen on the PlayStation 4 when you tried to access them, things like that. And I agree with another YouTuber I was watching. For me, and I said this on day one, you can go back to last week's podcast so you can see that I haven't changed up. My problem has not, it was not the gameplay. I thought the gameplay needed tweaks, and that was it. And they did make some tweaks. I know they have now tweaked like the speed in certain modes. I think now they've messed with some dribble moves and shooting. So that was all I thought, was that gameplay just needed tweaks. That's it. Unlike everybody else, I did not think the gameplay was just terrible and this is a horrible 2K. I differ there. I'm sorry. Now, being that the patch is only a day old, coming into this podcast is kind of ill-timed because I spent a ton of time playing 2K yesterday and then the patch dropped. So I don't exactly know. I didn't have time to go into every mode and see what the differences are yet and what they've actually done with the gameplay, and the patch notes that they dropped weren't really detailed patch notes. It was kind of just a tweet with a couple of marks or a couple of bullet points saying that they've improved the overall experience of this mode and fixed a couple of glitches, but there wasn't like, you know, in the past when you had patch notes, it tells you like everything down to the details that they fixed, and we didn't really get that this time. So now over the next week I'll just have to be evaluating what the gameplay is actually like, because I don't know who they caved into. There was so many voices, there was so many different people saying different things need to be done to the game. Again, I was on the side of there's just a couple of things that need tweaks, but other than that, I was having fun with the actual gameplay itself, the things that were working. But again, I have no clue who they caved into. I know that the dribble community was really mad. I've never been part of the dribble community. I don't even really watch that type of content, so I'm not sure like what they were so pissed about in comparison from last year to this year. I guess from this year they were probably mad about things like stamina, the fact that you couldn't just, you know, right to left really quickly and break people off. I don't know, so I guess they probably did something to please them. I'm not sure. Like I said, the patches these days, I answered somebody on Twitter, and I was like, because they were asking me what did the patch do, and I was like, bro, NBA 2K patches are essentially jigsaw puzzles. We put it together as we go, and then we figure out what the full picture is then. I will tell you, as soon as the patch dropped, I went and checked out some things that were important to me just for videos, and one of the more important things was Play Now Online. Not because I make Play Now Online videos, I don't, but I always use that for background footage and like barbershop talks, and lately I was planning to use it for the season previews. You haven't seen me do season previews in a minute because I was waiting for 2K20 to drop so that I could actually play the games instead of just having like a demo of the computers playing, right? Well, here's the thing with playing out online, not that many of you probably care, and to be honest, I'm gonna get to that in a second. I can kind of see why, but so before the patch, a lot of us on the PlayStation 4, I cannot confirm for Xbox, but on the PS4, playing out online did not work, and I was included in that. So what would happen is we click on the mode. As soon as you click on playing out online, it would send you to blue screen. You would just crash, right? And through the week, I had only gotten one game. So yesterday after the update, they fixed it. They did fix playing out online, but the servers are held together with duct tape and string. The only explanation I have is that 2K has different servers for playing out online, or different systems running the playing out online than the ones that are running my team, than the ones that are running the other modes, the park and stuff like that. It absolutely has to be, because I've played every online mode by now. I've played it in every single mode, and I have no problem in the other modes. I went to the rec center, right? I've never been a rec player, but I wanted to see what that was about, and I get on there and it's crispy clean. That's 10 different connections, right? Crispy clean. I went to the park, played there, didn't get any lag. My team haven't got any lag in triple threat, and my team unlimited. Play now online. The entire game was choppy as fuck. It's so choppy, in fact, that out of the 4 games I think I have recorded now, I can't use any of that footage. I wanted to do a season preview for the Clippers next, so I played all of my tier 1 games with the Clippers, and none of that footage is usable. You can't look at it. It's choppy. I won all those games, by the way. There will be stretches for like a good 2 minutes where it wasn't choppy, but after that, it is so choppy, it's almost unplayable. It's nearly unplayable. That's disappointing. That is disappointing. That's a mode that I am unfortunately going to have to give up on now, because now that they've already done this 23GB patch to make it work, and being that that mode doesn't bring in any money and nobody cares about it because they never do anything to improve it, I doubt they're going to improve it themselves. I doubt they're going to go in and take a look at those servers or anything, so that mode is basically going to be unplayable the whole year. And I love that the rest of the game works and that I can play other video games online, because you can't blame that on my internet. You can't say you have potato internet. As a matter of fact, it's not potato internet. I pay for my own internet, okay? When I moved, that was like #1 priority. Give me the best that you have, the absolute best that you have. My download speeds are great, all that good stuff. So has nothing to do with my connection. That mode specifically, whatever they're running, whatever code they're running, it just doesn't work well. So yeah, for all 3 of you that care about playing out online, thanks for coming to my seminar, but you won't be playing this here most likely. So I've been dabbling in my player, I've been dabbling in my career, because this year that was kind of like a goal I set for myself with this game, was that I really wanted to level my player up. I am going to try to get in on the event today, just because I've never done a park event before, so I just want to go see what it's about, get some footage, you know, maybe spend 30 minutes to an hour there. And yeah, I've been dabbling around in my career, and if you did not know, if you've been living under a rock, people glitched the hell out of the game before the patch came out. So there are already 99s. There are people with 97 overalls, 99 overalls, they have badges. And yeah, it's kind of difficult for those of us that didn't do any of that, or for those of us that aren't spending all day grinding my career. You're gonna go online and you're not gonna be able to compete. I found that out rather quickly when I hopped onto the rec center and I'm playing a team full of 90s. How did y'all get there already? Did everybody glitch? Everybody did the badge glitch and whatnot? I don't know, to be honest, I'm having fun with my career this year. The prelude was actually really good. This is the first prelude, the first story that I ever watched that I was actually captivated by. I thought it was cool. I'm enjoying the gameplay of my career. For the little bit that I was able to play competitive games on Park with people that weren't glitched, I was actually having fun. But I am probably going to stay offline for a good while and grind my badges and whatnot, because getting on the park when you don't have badges, it's just not really the best idea. You're gonna look sorry in comparison to everybody else. Only reason I'm getting on the park today is just for that event, and whenever they have events, I'm gonna check them out so I can evaluate them and let you guys know if they actually worked or not. But yeah, for a while other than that, I would just be grinding offline. Offline seems easy enough too. Like I said, my career has always been an easy mode. Once your player gets enough skills and enough attribute upgrades, you can basically dominate the computer. That's mostly why I've never played it, but again, this year I am trying to grind my player up to a 90. Later in the year, I would like to make some park videos. I have some ideas with that, so I will get to that. My main focus since the game came out has been my team though. I've been playing my team, and you know, now that I've had a week to evaluate it, here's the thing. Yeah, I have a couple of different updated perspectives since I came to y'all last week. First of all, you remember the Spotlight series? That was, I made a video when they first dropped the My Team trailer, and I went through the dev diary, and one of the things I pulled out was the Spotlight player series because I thought that was an awesome idea. And on paper, it was an awesome idea. But here's the bind I'm finding myself in with that mode. So, in the Spotlight Dwayne Wade series, because that is the only one available to us right now, the ultimate goal is to finish those 17 challenges to basically recreate recreate the career of Dwayne Wade. And so you get a pink diamond Alonzo Mourning. I think that is his rarity. But to move on to each challenge, you kind of always need a new player. So you get to the third or fourth challenge and they say to do this challenge, you need a Spotlight Dwayne Wade series Udonis Haslem. And so to acquire that Udonis Haslem, it's not really what I thought. See, when I read the dev diary, I was under the impression that you play this Spotlight series and you beat a challenge, and like in the first game, they give you the Evolution Dwayne Wade. And so I thought, okay, this is gonna keep progressing, and as you beat those challenges, you're gonna get more cards. Oh boy, was I naive. I really thought in my team they were gonna let you earn something like that. No, what ends up happening in that mode is you're gonna need to get those players from the Spotlight series, the Spotlight packs. So you gotta go bust open some packs, which cost either VC or my team coins, or you need to go to the auction house and snipe one of these players. Now, here's the deal. The Spotlight Dwayne Wade series packs will only be available from right now at the time I'm recording. I'm pretty sure they have 7 days left. So a week from now, the Spotlight series Dwayne Wade packs will disappear and you will not be able to open them anymore. To actually get some of these cards, each pack has a certain list of players that you can even get from them. So the higher you go up, the more you can get a player like Tim Duncan or Carmelo Anthony. And in the lower packs, you're going to get guys like Brian Grant. Of course, the higher packs with the better players cost more. So you can gamble your My Team coins or your VC with the chance of, you're going to have to open like 3 or 4 packs to get Shaq. I had to open like 3 or 4 packs, right? So you can gamble your coins on that, or you can go to the auction house, and in a place like the auction house, certain cards are doable, right? Very easy and doable. You can go find Shaq or Udonis. You can go find them for like 5,000 My Team coins. That is not a difficult task. But Carmelo Anthony, all of the bids are going from like 80,000 to 100,000 My Team coins. By the way, as far as I know, you cannot buy My Team coins. That has to be earned through, you know, playing the modes. So, okay, what's the problem, right? This is one of those things that you said you liked last week, where you have to grind for a player, because through doing a mode like Domination, you can actually get a lot of My Team coins. But do you see what happens in a week from now when the Spotlight Dwayne Wade packs go away? How much do you think all those players are going to cost? For the people that haven't started the Spotlight Dwayne Wade series yet, or don't have time, or been playing other modes, you come back and you play the Spotlight series and the packs are no longer available, so you have to go to the auction house to buy all the players that you need to do this mode. How much do you think is Shaq right now maybe going for like 8,000 My Team? When you can no longer open him in a pack, how much is that going to shoot up for? That is going to drive the price up, because the demand for that player is going to be high and the supply is going to be low. Very, very simple economics. And so the only thing I'm not clear on right now is, I know these Spotlight Dwayne Wade packs are going away, but is the Spotlight Dwayne Wade challenge going to dissolve as well in a week? So in 7 days, are they going to give us a new Spotlight player, or is that challenge still going to be there? Right now I've completed 4 out of 17, so am I still going to be able to try to complete that through the year? Because if not, that really puts the squeeze on you. That puts the squeeze on you to get these players from the auction house as fast as you can, to get these players out of packs as fast as you can. And even if it's not going to go away in a week, the packs might go away, but his challenge might not go away, which if I remember reading from the dev diary, they're not going to have a Spotlight player every single 2 weeks, I don't think. So I don't believe it's going to dissolve, but if it doesn't dissolve, you still have that problem of having to spend an exorbitant amount on these guys in the auction house. So with the Spotlight mode, to be honest, I have shifted my focus completely away from that, because I see the amount of either VC or My Team you're going to need to do that, to complete that. And from what I heard, the pink diamond Alonzo Mourning is not even worth all of that grinding anyways, but I was more concerned with just kind of like having fun and collecting the card at the end. It didn't really matter to me if I was going to like use him forever, or if he was just going to be amazing. I just kind of like that was a mode that they added, that it was something to do, but it's definitely not as great as it sounded on paper, and it makes a lot more sense in My Team to play Domination mode. Now here's what's changed with Domination, and I think it's a positive change, but I also think it's pretty ratchet. To dominate a team, you have to beat them on the 3-star mode. To get 3 stars, you have to play them on All-Star. The computer has changed this here. I'm not sure if it's all around in the game, but inside My Team, All-Star is that's a high difficulty this year. Okay, you guys know I've been playing on Hall of Fame since like 2K13. I may have to make some adjustments this year, bro. All-Star on My Team on Domination and inside the Spotlight series are difficult. Now I say it's ratchet because it kind of feels like forced difficulty in some aspects. So in the Spotlight series, I am on the Cavaliers challenge. Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Anderson Varejao are like Hakeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson, basically. That's how they play. That's how they grab rebounds. That's how they play on offense. But Also, check this out. I believe that's the 07 Cavs I'm playing. It's either the 06 or the 07 Cavs. It's back when LeBron James was not a great shooter. The lineup around him is Eric Snow, Drew Gooden, and then the two big men. But Drew Gooden is playing at small forward while LeBron James plays at shooting guard. For whatever reason, Drew Gooden can shoot threes. Because the easiest way to beat this challenge is pretty much just to crowd LeBron's space, right? Drew Gooden running around the perimeter, what is he supposed to be able to do? So if I see LeBron getting ready to charge, if I see him sizing me up and he wants to drive left, I'm gonna take my guy off of Gooden and crowd that space. Well, he passes it to Gooden, and I've had at least 3 greened threes from Drew Gooden. I'm talking green lights. Drew Gooden was not a 3-point shooter. He was not a stretch 4. He has multiple seasons where he really did not even attempt a 3-pointer. But it seems like for the sake of this mode being difficult and for this challenge being difficult, he can shoot. And he's playing out of position. So that's just stupid. But in Domination, however, the only Domination game I've done so far is against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I ended up beating them. I ended up beating them by about 10 or 15 points, but the game was still challenging. And I'm talking about playing them with my team lineup. So I have T-Mac and Anthony Davis. This should not be a challenging game, but it is a challenging game. They make a lot of shots. They play a lot of defense, and you can eventually pull away, but it's actually challenging this year. Now that I like because I started playing Domination last year. Last year, NBA 2K19 was that was my introduction to my team. That was the first time I ever cared about it. That was the first time I ever really tried to play it and actually tried to get into the mode. And so I was immediately kind of impressed by how much content they always had. And I looked at Domination and it's like, wow, I can really grind this mode the whole year. So I like that. I enjoy that. But when I was playing Domination last year and I was, on the highest mode, the 3-star mode, it was basically just, I felt like 25 minutes of my life I'm never gonna get back because I was just dominating these teams. No pun intended. But literally for like 25 minutes, you're just beating them up by like 40 points. And that was boring. I'm like, come on, this is to dominate these teams. And especially in the earlier ranks, I'm like, come on, man, I have to do this for how many teams? It was not fun at all. So at least this year, you actually have to sit up. You have to, give it some of your attention. And playing Domination is worth it. Grinding Domination is worth it. That way you can end up with a good amount of my team coins. You can end up with a good amount of tokens. And the rewards are pretty much worth it as well. Eventually you're gonna get like a pink diamond Sean Kemp. That mode, Domination, to me is worth it. I fuck with Domination. Now, from what I get from Domination, if the Spotlight Dwayne Wade series is still around, if these Spotlight series don't disappear after a week, and hopefully people are auctioning off the cards that I need to complete that challenge, I will go back later to the Spotlight series and then I'll do those. But just straight up hopping on to Spotlight and grinding Spotlight just as the packs come out, that I don't recommend at all. Unless you're willing to buy a lot of VC, I don't recommend it. You're gonna have to play all the time to get that many cards in such a short amount of time. And then the challenges are difficult too, which, hey, again, I like that they make you earn some stuff. Like there's one game where you have to get like 28 points with Udonis Haslem. I had to drag this man through the mud to get 28 points with him. You gotta get a double-double with Brian Grant. There's one game, now check it out, right? I just talked to you about All-Star on Domination. Well, I heard that there's one challenge where you have to get 10 rebounds against the San Antonio Spurs with Dwayne Wade on Superstar. That, I don't know how I'm gonna do that one, man. I don't know if I ever get to it, when I ever get to that. I don't know how I'm going to, I don't know how I'm gonna manage because they have Tim Duncan. Dwayne Wade's a shooting guard. So I'm gonna basically have to be like doing some Westbrook type shit where I don't guard the other, whoever the shooting guard is, because Ginobili is not in this game. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stand under the rim and wait for the rebound. And it's on Superstar again, so that doesn't guarantee anything. So yeah, in terms of content and the amount of stuff that there is to do, I think my team is the best mode in the game. I think it's the most fun mode in the game, right? Let me not call it the best because obviously, like I just said with the Spotlight Series pack, their end goal is for you to end up spending VC or just spending a lot of time in the mode grinding it. But I find it the most fun because like I said with my career, I'm kind of looking at as more of a grind than anything because getting up to 90, 99, that eventually won't be that difficult. But grinding the badges, that is going to take a minute. Just looking at the badge progression, that's going to take a minute. So I'm just going to be playing a ton of my career games. I'm gonna hop on the park sometimes, but again, I really don't want to mess with the park too much until I get some badges because I think that's like the main problem is that people get on the park and they get frustrated. But if your player doesn't have anything equipped, if he just has attributes but he has nothing equipped, and you're playing against a bunch of people who already do for one reason or another, well, of course your experience is not going to be that great. So I'm anticipating that that's going to end up feeling more like a grind, whereas in my team, like, I don't know, I have fun collecting. shooting. I have fun collecting, I have fun playing all the different modes, and I'm looking at the only thing I really don't like so far, like that I actively dislike, is the fact that Triple Threat Online does not give the rewards that Triple Threat Offline gives. So I guess I misspoke a week ago when I was talking about Dominique Wilkins and Galaxy Opal Dominique Wilkins and getting him. Apparently the 1,000 win total to get him, that's for Triple Threat Offline. And so getting all types of players and cards and everything, that all comes from Triple Threat Offline. Now, I guess they did this because they didn't want to reward you for playing scrub teams online, because on Triple Threat Online, you run into a lot of lineups, especially early on. You run into a lot of sorry lineups. Dudes got like role players in their lineup, so you can finesse those wins. I think I've only lost like 2 games so far, and I've probably played like 20 or 25. I've only lost twice on Triple Threat Online so far. But if that is correct, and Triple Threat Offline is the only place that you are able to collect some of these players, well, I'm never gonna get them. I'm not playing 1,000 offline Triple Threat matches. I don't have any fun with that. I'm not gonna have fun playing against the computer like that. Not that much. The computer is fun for certain things. That's not one of them. Triple Threat Online is addicting, and you get a lot of rewards for it, but yeah, other than that, and I'm talking about rewards like my team coins and tokens, but damn, like this whole time I thought those wins were counting towards something, counting towards cards. That would have, I would have really enjoyed that. But yeah, other than that, the last thing I guess everyone was really talking about is shooting. As far as like actual gameplay, because I already went over the dribbling earlier. Really the last thing that I think, here's the thing, right? The argument that I've seen for shooting is people say that the 2K community says they want a constant skill gap in the game. They complain that there was no skill gap, and they're saying that 2K implements a skill gap this year in multiple places, and now the community does not like it. But the shooting, okay, here's the thing. In my career, I get timing your own release. I get that being a argument for a skill gap, because it's your player. It's literally supposed to represent, I mean, it's not supposed to represent you, but it's your player. You get what I'm saying? It's your creation. So you get online, you should know how to play with it, and you should know how to time its shot. And so people are missing hella shots. Like I played Rec Center, I've played the 3-on-3, the 2-on-2. People are missing shots all over the place. Of course, they're missing them less on the park, because I don't know, shooting it on the park always seems easy to me. But in some of the other modes, yeah, people are just missing like crazy. So I get that there. But then I'm playing the game again. I played a couple of Play Now Online matches, even though they were choppy as hell. I played Triple Threat. They played My Team Unlimited. I played all these modes, right? And I'm way too prone to leave people open, because I believe they cannot shoot the ball and they're not gonna make it, even though they're shooting with great shooters. On Triple Threat Online, I played a guy who was using Dirk Nowitzki. I was able to gamble because he had Dirk, and then I think he had 2 guys that were probably like slashers. I felt entirely too comfortable and able to kind of play off of Dirk, because every time he would pass it to him and, you know, get it to him on a 3-point line, he was not making it. He was not hitting. I have not gotten too much time in with the update, but I'm going to be paying attention to shooting in all modes, because I feel like the only things that are going in so far are greens. I feel like if it's not a green shot, I can go ahead and get ready for the rebound. I can go ahead and prepare for the rebound. The last online game I played yesterday was I was the Pelicans and the other guy was the Nuggets, and he couldn't hit with anybody on the Nuggets. Paul Millsap wasn't hitting, Toy and Craig, nobody was hitting anything. And so it affected my defensive game plan, because I can just straight up sag off of the guys. I could just wait for the drive, because I know that they can't hit anything. Now, when you're playing with guys like that, when you're playing with guys like Dirk who have all these badges already and they're known sharpshooters, should there be some leeway there? Like, look, if you butcher a release, of course it shouldn't go in, right? If you half bar a release, it should not go in. If you're very late on a release so that the bar fills up and then bounces back, and you can see a space there, of course those should not go in. But when these dudes have full bars, or it's only like a tiny bit of the bar that's not full, and it's a sharpshooter, that should not be a miss way more times than it makes. Because I'll tell you straight up, during the weekend playing this game, I did not feel the need to respect any shooters. I didn't have to respect any shooters. It made defending quite easy. So again, I understand that on my career, but when you get into these other modes, and these are established NBA players, it shouldn't have to always be a green to go in. So yeah, I'll definitely be evaluating shooting over the next few days that I play. But other than that, the big patch has come now. It's come and gone. It's fixed a lot of the technical issues of the game. I'm gonna go have fun now. There are changes that I enjoy this year. There are changes that I don't enjoy that I think make absolutely no sense. Like the play calling. So you guys know, if you've been watching me for years and used to watch my Play Now Online games, you know I've always ran plays. I always like to have movement, but this year I'm really just kind of calling floppy, and I'm calling motion, and that's it. I'm not really calling plays because I watched if you guys don't know who M2K Elite is, I think that's the name of his channel, go check him out because he gives all types of tips and tricks and everything for all 2Ks. He's been doing it for years. The guy's like a wizard. But I think he calculated, I said calculated like it's some like difficult thing. He showed that it takes 6 different controller functions this year to call a play for a guy. So you have to press on either L1 or the D-pad. You have to go to positional play calling. You have to click the button on top of the player's head. Then depending on how that's 3 different functions. So it's 3 functions to get to where you want to go. And then depending on where your play is, that's where you can get to like 5 or 6 functions. But it's called quick play. Quick play is basically gone. The things that you can't do this year anymore, you can't just tell a player to cut. You can't just press L1 and tell Klay Thompson to just cut. You have to go manually assign cut plays to everybody inside of the options menu, which if you're playing online, you have 5 pauses with 29-second timers, 30-second timers. So you got to go ahead and use up some of that time if you want to be able to tell players to cut. Your only other option, which I can confirm now, is holding the triangle button. For the player that has the icon under his feet, he runs to the rim. Now that is useful, okay? That's something I don't see anybody using, but that's how you beat off-ballers online. Is if you see somebody off-balling to the corner or whatever, he's most likely not paying attention to that guy. He's waiting for you to dribble. So that has worked beautifully. It's worked beautifully in that instance because you hold triangle, he cuts, you let go of it. But the problem is, again, to cancel it. I don't know how to cancel it yet because when you let go of triangle, whether he is in position or not, or after a certain amount of seconds, he's going to pass it. If he's not in position or somebody stepped in front of him, you have to like rapidly press X to somebody else to get rid of the ball. It's like a hot potato. But yeah, so there again, that I talked about that last week. I just wanted to let you know that I did confirm that cutting is basically gone. You can't just tell anybody to post up. So it used to be you can go into quick play and you can tell, if you wanted to tell your point guard to post up, you could tell anyone to post up. This year it's made it difficult because sometimes I'll have like T-Mac on a smaller guard and I want to post him up, but it's very difficult. Sometimes the option is there for him to post up, sometimes it's not. I think the way it works is that the icon has to be under the player's feet, and then if it is and they're in position to post up, I think they do, but it's just like you used to be able to control the whole floor around and now you can't. So things like that I don't like. But again, the gameplay, I like the pace of the gameplay this year. So again, this is pre-update. I don't know how much the update changed that, but I like the fact that you can't just use turbo to, in every instance, you can't use turbo to just get by people, right? Blow bots are back this year. If you didn't notice, yes, I don't want to tell you exactly how to do it, but there is one direction you can go on the court. And if you hold R2 and you get somebody leaning, you can basically just blow by them, but I'm not going to spread that information here. But other than that, yeah, because of the stamina, you can't just R2 and turbo everywhere on the court, at least before the patch. I don't know if they caved in and completely gave everybody stamina and it's going to be back to the way it was. I hope it's not, because again, when they started this game, they said R2 was going to be for burst and that's it. So yeah, as far as the momentum and the speed of the game, those changes that they made a lot of core gameplay changes, and I like them and I enjoy them. That goes back to the podcast 2 weeks ago where people were saying boycott 2K, don't give them your money, and then something will change. First of all, like, I always feel like that those comments aren't helpful. They don't help anything because it's not just that simple. I think people who just say don't buy the game and this is gonna happen, it's really not that simple. First of all, like I said, aside from the game being a technical mess, there's a lot of enjoyment to be had. A lot of us like playing basketball games, and this is the only basketball game out. Now, aside from that, the other thing is there's just no competitors, so it's not just as simple as boycott the game. First of all, this game is so strong globally, there's not going to be a strong band of boycotts that's going to be able to actually change anything. That's the first thing. But the other part is just nobody else. There are no other options for a basketball game. Nobody's making anything on their level. I saw one YouTuber that put it perfectly. He said, as bad as this launch has been, and as bad as 2K can be sometimes, they're still better than NBA Live. They're still better than NBA Live in every single way. And I wish NBA Live would come out with a great game, but I'm done holding my breath on that. And so I just don't think it's helpful, right? Because what I did this week, I went through my last video on my second channel. I basically went through and I made a, not compilation, but I congregated as many of the biggest glitches as I could find into one video. And I got people to share the video and basically just try to get it attention so the devs could know what the biggest things were that needed to fix. Trying to be proactive about the situation. I don't think think the comments that come out when we have problems like this that are just like, oh yeah, you know, you're still gonna buy it next year, you still bought it, boycotted it, those comments don't do anything to help get anything fixed. They don't. The reality is, until somebody comes out with a legitimate competitor, which they've got such a strong hold on this market now that I don't know if it's ever gonna happen, because making a basketball game is not just like, it's not just something anybody can go do. And especially with the work that 2K has done to the gameplay and to like getting the likeness of the players to where it is now, all this work that's gone into it over the last decade, I don't think there's going to be a competitor that just pops up out of the blue and that does as good a job as them. I don't think that's coming anytime soon. I'm gonna buy NBA Live this year, by the way. I'm gonna support when they come out, if they come out, because we're now at September, we're midway through September and I haven't heard anything yet. Shit's getting kind of spooky, no pun intended. But if they do drop this year, I will buy the game, I will play it, I will try to offer feedback. But it's like, those are the proactive things that you can really do if you really want to see things change. The snarky comments of, oh, you buy it every year, you guys aren't boycotting it. The boycott is not the problem. The boycott is not going to fix anything right now. The first problem of the boycott is that people like basketball games too much, and the things that 2K are good at are just good enough to get people to buy every year. They're just good enough at it. So unless globally there is some pact or agreement that people sign to say they're not gonna buy the next 2K game, which we know that is next to impossible, that's not a viable option. The competitor is what's missing. 2K butchering this launch this year is not going to change a damn thing next year. You know why? First of all, because here we are a week later and the biggest glitches with the game are mostly fixed. For most people, the biggest things that were wrong are gone. So a lot of us can go about our business now and go have fun and, you know, eventually get pissed at the game and get mad at all and all that stuff. You know, it's the same cycle every year, but for the most part, we can have the base level fun that we purchased the game for. On top of that, again, the PS5 is probably coming next year. NBA 2K21 is probably coming next year. Once they drop that first trailer and show us what they've been working on with a basketball game, right, and how much of a jump the PS5 might be from the PS4, I'm telling you, all it's gonna take is that first trailer and people are going to forget everything that just happened. Absolutely everything. And I heard that the PS5, apparently, I saw a source or whatever that devs were saying they have a lot more to work this year, and that supposedly the 5 is supposed to be a, so from the PS4 to the PS5 is supposed to be a bigger jump than the 3 to the 4 was. And so sports games get the brunt of that if you haven't noticed. When the PS4 dropped, there were some games that dropped and it was like, you know, this is a good looking game, but it's not like completely dusting the PlayStation 3 yet. The one game that was like that was NBA 2K14. So assuming that 2K21 is the start of next gen, nobody's gonna remember this launch. And then the launch is probably gonna be ratchet over there too, because it's gonna be a new console, different servers, different mechanics, all of that. And I'm not saying we're gonna do this all over again, because 2K20 was on a different level. But yeah, here we are a week later. We're gonna go through this patch and see what people like and don't like, but from a technical aspect, it looks like a lot of the storm is past. And I'm glad to say, like I said, I did what I could instead of just complaining about it and talking about some like impossible boycott that we know is never gonna happen. I, you know, again, put all the glitches in one place and was like, hey, this is what needs to be fixed. So far as I know, a lot of it is fixed. Such is life. Alright, well, that is the end of this podcast. Thank God the NBA season will actually, as far as I know, be starting in 2 weeks, right? The first preseason game I see here, yeah, is on October 4th. Oh, thank God. You guys don't know how brutal this offseason was. This offseason, between the time that there was no new 2K and no NBA news, that was such a brutal time. I was thankfully able to come up with this series, NBA 2010, so we could just kind of take a look at the past and kind of cover for the fact that there was just no NBA news to talk about. I'm so pumped for this season, so happy that this season is actually, we have a competitive season to look forward to. We don't know who's gonna win. So many different storylines. I am just hyped, man. I cannot wait. This will probably be the last, unless something really crazy happens, this will probably be the last like 2K podcast. I kind of let this take over for the last 3 weeks between the release of the game and the news and then the launch. And it looks like we have probably reached the end of this cycle. So yeah, if you enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button, comment, subscribe. If you want to listen to this on Spotify, iTunes, you know the link will be in the comment section and the description. And hit the bell next to the channel name if you want notifications when this podcast drops every single Saturday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.